Okay, so the next job is to cut the fret slots in this fretboard, and for that I need my fret cutting fixture, which is somewhere around here. Hello there and welcome to day 2 of my entry to the Great Guitar Build Off 2020 unofficial challenges. What a mouthful. Anyway, what am I doing today? I'm going to be unclamping the body that I glued yesterday. I'm going to be routing the neck and hopefully shaping the back, and I'm going to be cutting the frets. I better get on. Here we go. If you didn't see the video yesterday, please go back and have a look and follow the journey of this guitar from the start. Anyway, this is what I glued yesterday. This is a veneer clamp that I'd made, but I've used it for the body blank, so let's hope it works okay. Pretty good, just need to get the paper off the back, but that looks good. Nice join, good. Okay, I think what I'm going to do now is set up the router and route the channel for the truss rod. Now before I mark out the position of the truss rod, I just need to be aware of where the neck bolt's going to go. Now I use these roofing bolts, a single roofing bolt to hold the neck onto the guitar body, and I use one of these threaded inserts in the neck, so it's important that the truss rod is nowhere near where I need to drill the hole for this threaded insert. Now according to my calculations, this is a Strat scale length guitar, so if I go from the nut position to fret 21, which is a key position for me, it's 455.4 millimeters, and so I'm going to put a mark there. I think you can see that. So what I'm going to do is just going to draw a line across at that point, and because the neck is not square now because it narrows towards the nut, I'm going to have to use the center line to get the square, and I'm going to mark it the other way as well. The line there, mark that across there like that. Okay, so that's fret 21. Now then, according to my calculations, I need to come 45mm back from there and mark a point, and that's going to be where the hole is. I'm going to double check that against a guitar that I've built already, just to make sure that I am on the right track. So that means, I'll put that around, the hole is going to be there for this insert, so the truss rod can go no nearer than that. So I'm just going to put a mark there, put a mark up here. So that's where I need to do the channel for the truss rod. Right, going to just check it against another guitar. Okay, so here's a guitar I built last year, or the year before, I forget now. Right, from the nut to the 21st fret is 455.5. whatever, that looks about right. So that is exactly the same as what I'm aiming for here. So there's the nut position. What I'm going to do is score this with a knife to get a more accurate line, but I'm 455.5, I'm spot on there, so I'm happy with that. Just going to score this with a knife, so I've got a cleaner line. 21st fret. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure this side, and I'm happy with that, and measure on the other side, and I'm happy with that. So that is square. The end of this wood isn't quite square, that's why I was worried. All we need to do now is get the router set up. Over the years I've been making these guitars, I seem to have collected a whole load of templates, jigs, bits of cardboard, body, templates. I'll leave those later. That's for the control panel at the back. That's another control panel route. Somewhere in here is the truss rod. Aha! There we go. Not the most complicated jig, but seems to work. Okay, some masking tape. Just rub that in a bit. My homemade mallet that I was inspired by Ben to build. Right, bit of standard Wilco super glue, £1 a pot. Okay. And this is where you've got to line it up carefully. You don't want to go any further than there. On. Stick that down for a bit. Okay, I'm going to get my trusty Black & Decker workmate to clamp this down. Yes, I've had this thing for years, but there are some things where it just works a treat. Okay, I'm using a 6mm bit which will fit this. It's quite a narrow truss rod, so that'll be good. And I've got to go at least 9mm deep. So I've got it all set up with the depth stop. Let's get my kit on. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see what we've got here. That looks pretty good. I've not gone right to the end there because I don't want to go too deep where the adjustment is, but I think I'm going to have to have to take a little bit more off than I have done, so a little bit more routing to do. Now this is a double action truss rod, which means I can put it in that way round, which is quite handy, and that just goes really nicely in the slot there. So let's get this template off. Oh, look at that, that's pretty good. Just got to get the jig off there. Might have to do a bit of tidying up around this end, but otherwise that looks pretty good. Okay, so the next job is to cut the fret slots in this fretboard, and for that I need my fret cutting fixture, which is somewhere around here, probably hanging on a wall somewhere. Where is it? Found it. Here we go. Whew. Now, we moved house about 12 months ago, and I've not had this out since then, and it's got cobwebs on it, and the scale length looks like it's a bit screwed up, so I'm going to have to do some work on this before I can cut any frets. Okay, just to explain how this slot cutting fixture works, I don't know if you can see that I've had to put some tape on it just to hold it down, but basically what I've done, I've got a scale, this is a Strat scale length of 648 marked out on this piece of paper here. In actual fact I printed it off, but when it printed it wasn't accurate, so I've actually put some knife cuts at the points where it should be. Basically, I strap the fretboard to this plate. I've got a centre line marked on it, so I'll mark the centre line of the fretboard, and then it's just a question of sliding it to each point on the scale and then using a fret saw to go across there. So I've got my table here of the strap lengths on there, and I've got the distance to the nut, so I'm going to use that measurement to double check these measurements here. So, well, the first one is 36.5. To be honest with you, it's not quite there. Okay, so I'm happy with the measurements. In actual fact, the print wasn't that far off, so that's pretty good. I've got to work out which way round to do this, because I want the fret 21 to be at this end. Okay, just going to get a nice square edge. To start from. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the fretboard, and distance from there to the nut. So let's assume that it's fret 22 is the end of the fretboard, so that's 4, 6, 7. So if I go 4, 6, 8, allow myself some extra. Okay, in theory that's where the nut should be. As always, I'm going to double check these measurements. What I do need to do is mark a centre line on this, handily 60 wide, so I'm going to mark a centre line there, centre dot there, and 60 at this end as well. Now if you cut your own frets, you'll know that this is a particularly nerve-wracking part of the whole build. What I'm going to do now is stick this fretboard onto my jig here with some tape, masking tape. Basically what I'm doing, I'm lining the plate underneath here up with where the nut position should be, and then I'm putting the fretboard here where I want to cut the nut. Now I've marked the nut there. I'm going to just allow myself a little bit extra. That should be enough. Okay. Centre line is on the centre line. Cut 22 frets. I'm going to slice it off at the 22nd because there's only 21 frets on this guitar, otherwise the fretboard goes too far into the body. It's a small body. That's a good job done. Now I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. See you in a bit. I'm just checking the flatness of the top of the neck. It looks pretty good to me. If there's any drop away, it might be a little bit at this end, which is not really a problem. I think it's pretty good. So all I'm going to do is use a leveling beam here just to smooth it off a little bit. Well, it's just gone 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, so I'm going to call it a day today because I don't think the neighbours will appreciate me bandsawing out the back of this neck. But I've made some progress. I've cut all the slots in the fretboard. I've fitted the truss rod in in its groove there, and smooth the top of the neck. Yesterday I glued together the back, the sapele for the back of the body, and that's looking really good. And also cut 2 book match tops from some olive that I've got for the body, and the book match top, the top for the headstock. So making some progress now, which is good. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit subscribe, and please hit the like button. If you'd like to know a bit more about the sort of compact stroke travel guitar that I'm making, please have a look at the video on my channel that's called Seriously the Only Guitar You'll Need, because it sort of explains it all. But thank you again for watching. I shall see you in day 3.